the muscles,
Yeah.
yeah, machine guns, but not too politically and safe. Hell yeah, Trump, maybe. I don't know. Maybe let's secretly fund Democrats, but also who cares because it's all the fucking same thing.
You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
I figured let's just send it. We don't have any talking points. We're just kind of coming into this episode, and I think that's okay. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. I mean, at the end
Force game never goes anywhere.
Yeah, I find, whenever we did Force, like a couple of the episodes, like, what is it? Is this the third episode?
This would be the fourth that goes... No, fifth, sixth. This is the sixth episode we've recorded. We have 4 that were good, 2 that we scrapped, and this one, which we're not sure about yet.
I thought we scrapped 2 of them.
We did. So we have 4 that were good.
Oh, yeah. Math.
Yeah.
So...
But this one will be good because I have here a 5-pack of watermelon White Claws, and that basically guarantees, quality, I think.
I have here my standard blue plastic cup of water.
One of these days, Mitch, we're going to have to get you to have the White Claws, I think.
I rarely drink. That's the problem. Well, it's not a problem.
So why? I only drink when we record. It's a good way to keep it... Fuck, what's the word?
Lighthearted?
God damn it. I don't know. Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I think there was a stint because when I was 17 and 18, I got stationed over in Europe, and you can buy alcohol anywhere in Europe when you're that old.
And it's cheap.
Well, it's very cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to just get stupid fucked up, like blitzed all the time. And I started waking up with tattoos on my ass. So
that explains so much.
Yeah.
Mitch, that explains so much. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That explains everything. Is that where the Patrick Star came from?
Yeah, the Patrick Star was a drunk one in Estonia.
Of course it was.
So, but I'm not the only one that got that was the first time and the last time I got a drunk tattoo, but it was the first time that other people also got a drunk tattoo with me, because before that it was we would get stupid fucked up in Italy or Germany or Austria, wherever we were, and it would turn into, hey, let's go get fucking tattoos, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, and then I'd be the only one to get a tattoo.
That sounds very in character. I know that most people here probably haven't seen Mitch naked. Most anyway. It's a lot of tattoos. A lot of pretty...
I do have a lot. But yeah, I used to just get really fucked up in Europe and wake up with different tattoos. And one day, I don't remember when, but it was either on my way back from Estonia or when I got PCS to Fort Drum, where I was like, I'm just not going to drink alcohol anymore. And I just stopped, and I didn't drink for years.
You know what? I respect that.
And then I broke that when I was a cadet summer training NCOIC for Buddy Team Live Fires.
Tattoos.
I went tattoos.
We're not allowed to say that. Whatever. It's too late.
And on post.
That's when that lady lazed everyone on the range and you jacked her up, right?
Yeah, that's the same summer when that happened, but that was like we were there for I think like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. But there was I think it was Sam Adams Brewery on post on Fort Knox, Kentucky, and the first like weekend we were there, it was just me and like a couple of the other range NCOICs, and they were like, hey, drink with us. And I'm like, nah, I haven't drank in years. Like, I have no desire to drink. I still don't, to this day. And this was already 2 or 3, 4 years ago. But at the time I was like, nah, I haven't drank in years. I'm not going to drink. And then I don't remember what broke it, but I was like, fuck it, I'll drink. and we got really fucked up a lot there at Sam Adams. But then we were like, getting drunk. There's other officers there. Like, there's people there. Fuck that. So we started renting vehicles and driving to Nashville on our one off day. So the way that some cadet summer training worked, it was 4 days on, 1 day off for 3 months. And
that's fucking terrible.
Well, it was terrible like the first couple weeks, but I'm going to be honest, like I would much rather go back and do that because I knew my schedule. I knew what I was doing every day. It would be nice, obviously, to have another day off, but the first day was like, it was dry and then blanks. We would walk them through.
To be clear, when you say cadets, you mean officer cadets, right?
Yeah.
Just for the listeners, yeah.
Yeah, so the people that aren't officers yet, but are trying to become officers, I don't know if they've signed a contract yet. I don't think they have. I think they're just in like the ROTC program or something. And then every summer they have to come and do like some type of training. And yeah, the first day, so you would do 2 different companies in that 4-day span. So like day 1 would be dry and blank, a buddy team live fires, and then day 2 was the live fire portion. Day 3 was dry and blank again. Day 4 live fire. Day 5 off. But what we ended up doing, I was in damn good shape too, because this is Kentucky in the middle of the fucking summer. It's humid, it's hot. I'm in kit, walking up and down a lane all day. And me and my buddies there, we picked the lane that had a hill on it, and we just started turning it into a competition. So you would walk down the hill during the lane, and then we would race each other up the hill, and it was like our hill sprints, cardio. Like we were fucking shredded.
Yeah.
But after that, on the 4th day, we would usually get done with the live fire day around 1 or 2 o'clock, and we would start at like 6 a.m. And we would immediately go back to the open bay that we were living in, take a shower, get into our fucking civilian clothes. We would already have a vehicle rented. We'd already have a hotel for the night whenever we got back in. We would drive all the way to Nashville and just get absolutely fucking destroyed. Absolutely fucking destroyed.
That actually sounds pretty fun.
So this girl I went to high school with, she was a couple years older than me. She went, she left high school to go and try and become a country singer. And this is like 10 years ago. And
so she ended up in fucking Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, and she was just singing in, I think, Kid Rock's bar. And I saw her, and I'm like, holy shit!
How'd she react?
We had like a 45-second catch-up, and then I didn't give a fuck anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go about my fucking night, just bar hopping. And we did that for 3 months.
Holy shit. Every 4 days. Well,
it wasn't every 4 days we went to Nashville, but we went to Nashville like at least once every 2 weeks. And if it wasn't Nashville, it was, I forget what the big city, Knoxville. No, not Knoxville. It wasn't Knoxville. Maybe it was Knoxville. There's a city right outside of Fort Knox, Kentucky that we would go to. And yeah, I would get really fucked up. And there was obviously like other incidences, like soldiers just annoying the shit out of me. But yeah, I started drinking again there. But that was years ago. And then I got back and I was like, I'm not going to drink anymore. So I stopped.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. I think these things are done best in moderation. I think I've drank more recording these podcasts than I did cumulatively in the last year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just, don't get me wrong, I enjoy drinking, but I never have an urge to do it. It's like a social thing for me, you know?
As it should be. I think that's kind of the healthy way to approach it.
Yeah, I know some folks, like, they instantly get off of work and they're just like, oh, I'm going to drink.
I never really got that. But you know what? If it's not hurting anyone else, more power to them.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what you do. I just don't do it.
Yeah. But I've heard the episodes that we've recorded when I had White Claws. I've heard the episodes that we have recorded Stone Sober. I think White Claws are probably the answer. Besides, we're being social. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm. Some people are like social smokers.
Yeah.
Some are social drinkers. I'm a social
Yeah.
drinker. But
I remember back in the day, I used to smoke just like I don't even think I was doing it right. I was like 18 years old. Fucking, we would get the smoke 'em if you got 'em breaks, and I'd go out. And I think the military made me smoke because I got a 5 minute break for it. But as soon as I wasn't there, then I just stopped.
It's funny how in the military, like you can get a break from doing like a shitty detail if you smoke, and nobody's going to question you. So on the Canadian military bases, do you guys have like breweries and restaurants and shit, bars?
No, not really. No, not at least any of the ones I've been to. Restaurants, yeah, a little bit, but
Is there like a reoccurring theme restaurant?
no. What?
Like every restaurant, not everyone, or I'm sorry, every base, not every single base, but like every base that I've ever been to has a Burger King. Like every single one.
Jeez, it's weird. Yeah, no, there's a few Tim Hortons here, I guess. Tim Hortons being
Timmy
kind of a
H.
Canadian staple.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, totally off topic. Tim Hortons is the Canadian staple that's owned by like a Brazilian holdings company.
I fucks with Timmy H.
Timmy H is good. I think they're owned by the same company who runs Burger King, so that would explain a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a contract or something, but Starbucks is also one that I've seen on most bases.
Yeah.
On most foreign bases, like if you're ever deployed, Green Beans is like there. There's a Subway on every military base.
You guys got with all the fucking variety. I was thinking about that when you mentioned that you guys sometimes had to pay for your own meals. Just like what company reaches in to kind of fulfill that. It's interesting that the fast food machinations of America. Oh shit! It started already. Have have kind of swooped into like the fucking jackal or the vulture.
Yeah. At least on army bases. There's so the reoccurring ones that I usually see: Starbucks, Burger King, sometimes Qdoba.
Starbucks surprises me. I figured you guys would be more like a fucking Robin's Donuts kind of like Dunkin'. I don't know.
We do have a Dunkin' too. Yeah.
Yeah, Dunkin's Donuts is dope. That's one place I really like. Fucking expensive now though.
Dude, coffee in general. Starbucks made it like they made expensive coffee popular.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. Like sometimes if I forget to make my coffee in the morning here, because I started drinking coffee now like a month ago. I used to drink it a lot growing up as a kid, especially in New York. But if I forget to make my coffee here in the morning, I'll like stop somewhere. But every time I do, like I regret doing it because it's like $5 fucking.
Yeah.
And
everywhere else's prices went up as well to kind of mimic the business model. I noticed, McCafe and McDonald's was pouring so much money into rebranding and like, oh, we're a high-end coffee now. Here's a fake electronic fireplace and a bunch of overpriced glazed donuts. By the way, our coffee is $3, and that kind of happened for a little while. At least here, I don't know what it's like there,
dude. I think because I remember it was like high school or middle school when Starbucks started to become like popular, and everyone was like, Jesus Christ, like $4 for a cup of coffee. Like they're fucking ridiculous. And I thought so too, because especially in New York, you have so many different options, and it's like pizza places in certain parts of New York. Like you can't, you've never heard of Domino's, Pizza, Papa John, because it's all just local like pizzerias. Like it's all like family owned like shit. And it was the same thing with coffee.
Coffee. I hear the fucking upstate New York, Mitch.
It comes out every so often. I purposely
coffee. Man, your New York accent's worse than my fucking Canadian accent.
Look, it's only certain words, but
a boot.
Growing up, like like coffee, like a cup of coffee in the morning was like 50 cents, 75 cents for like. So we have Stewart's and Cumberland Farms. Those are like a big thing in New York, and that's like where like Stewart's brand coffee is like huge. And their breakfast sandwiches are usually pretty good too. But gas station breakfast sandwiches in New York. It's a thing. Or just even if you're on the street, like you're just walking somewhere, like there's like little pop-up fucking shops every morning that have like bagels, cream cheese, coffee, breakfast sandwiches, all types of shit. And you could usually get like a thing where it's like 50 cents for a small, 75 cents a medium, and like 99 cents a large. And it wasn't just like black coffee. Like it was like you got creamer, you got milk, you can get like a fucking cappuccino for like $1.10.
Yeah, good. It's like good prices. And realistically, that's what it should be. If everywhere wasn't duplicating the business model, because the markups in coffee are insane.
Oh,
it's absolutely insane.
What's up, gang? This is BR, editor and producer of the show, with a quick announcement for our giveaway on the IG page. You can win a set of gear from our sponsor, AWS. Why AWS? Because they're dope. The prize is damn near all you need to set up a range belt, including a SMU operator system belt, a hybrid EDC belt, a single rifle pouch, single pistol pouch, small GP pouch, and compact dump pouch, setting you up for success all in one. You'll hear Mitch singing their praises later on in the show, but we all rock their gun belts and love them. All you have to do is add someone in the comments of the giveaway post, which will be the episode 5 promo. They do not have to follow the CLNR page, nor AWS, they would appreciate it if they do. Unlimited entries, and the winner will be decided in 1 week. Now let's get back to the show.
And speaking of coffee, this whole Black Rifle coffee thing that's been happening over the last 48 hours. Mitch, I know that you've been taking a little bit of a break from the old social meat, but yeah, maybe that's...
What's happening? I have no fucking idea.
That's usually how these things go. I guess, one of us doesn't know and the other person gives kind of accidental, but, good for the podcast exposition over the last 24 to 48 hours. What seems to be happening is Black Rifle Coffee did a series of interviews about how, or was it just one interview? Either way, they did a really glaring New York Times interview talking about how, well, at least in the conjecture of whoever wrote the article, Black Rifle Coffee is posed to become the Starbucks of the right. Did you know that Black Rifle Coffee has like Starbucks style fucking cafes? Because I didn't know that either.
What?
Yeah, like you go in, you buy coffee, you sit down, you fucking drink it. Like Pacific Northwest.
What?
Yeah, fucking Google it. They're real. And they look exactly like a Starbucks. They just have the BRCC fucking logo on them. I had no idea until today.
Good for them, but that's... Why?
I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know.
I heard something... So my extent of social media in like the last however long... It's consisted of me scheduling posts. Hmm? It's consisted of me just scheduling posts for mirror safety. Other than that, I haven't seen shit, but I did very, very briefly see people were upset that the founder of Black Rifle said something.
Yeah, some stuff about, I think he said the St. Michael's cross was a white supremacist symbol or something like that.
I don't even know what the St. Michael's cross is, but I know I know of it. Like I know like the religious meaning behind it. I just have never really seen it. But how is he called? Like what's his reasoning?
Honestly, the article behind me wasn't behind. The article for me was behind a paywall, so I've only seen screen caps. Yeah, the New York Times be like that though, and I'm not giving New York Times a fucking cent.
Fuck no. So Black Rifle Coffee has been making waves the last little bit, I guess.
Yeah. I remember I had an opportunity to do, I think, like unpaid content for them or paid. I don't remember. It was like 2017. And it was through our range here that I was trying to become the local dealer. And they asked me to do stuff. And I got cold feet and just didn't. And with everything that's going on, I don't really regret that anymore. At the same time, I'm also super... Yes, Yahoo News. Behind Black Rifle Coffee, the anti-hipster answer to Starbucks latte liberal says sales are surging. And of course, there's like the picture in their ad is a lady with a skeletonized red anodized AR-15.
Of course it is.
Of fucking course
it is. Remember I showed you a couple days ago that the social media person for Black Rifle Coffee follows us.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit, they may hear this.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, well, I'm not just saying this because they might hear this. I don't have anything against individuals. I don't have anything against, especially like if you can get a job in the field doing what you love for a company that, may have started as one thing and turned into another. And again, maybe the people aren't bad. I don't want to dunk on individuals.
Yeah,
I'm sure individuals are cool. But the face of the company and the face of a lot of companies is just like that of the toxic bro vet, like the muscles, machine guns, but not too politically and safe. Hell yeah, Trump, maybe. I don't know. Maybe let's secretly fund Democrats, but also who cares because it's all the fucking same thing. I don't know. I threw in some of my personal conjecture there, but
dude, only in American politics can a shitty brovet company influence politicians.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know. Like it's pretty bad here. The lobbying system doesn't quite work the same way as your guys's, but absolutely, companies and lobby groups wield like a really disproportionate amount of power. I was actually just speaking with Duncan, who no one listening is going to know Duncan, but a personal friend of mine here, about how police lobby groups and like police chief unions and things like that wield a weirdly disproportionate amount of political power.
I'm kind of gonna. It was funny. We were talking about lobbying, and I just had a memory of when I was in high school. A pig class. Do you have a pig class in participation in government?
No, Jesus, no. I've never heard of that.
So I don't know if it's like nationwide here in America, but it's definitely a course requirement to get your high school diploma in New York.
Oh, that's very strange. Yeah, we do not have that at all.
Yeah, so your participation in government. Anyways, it made me think of lobbying. So have you heard of Kirsten Gillibrand? She ran for president.
Fucking who?
Kirsten Gillibrand. She ran for president.
That's the first time I've ever heard that name. I'm sorry.
Oh. Okay, well, she's like a New York State senator. And she ran for president. I don't know. I just know she did in this last election. But
2016, 2020.
2020. But in high school, she was a guest at my for my pig class. She was a guest speaker.
Oh yeah, you were in upstate New York, right?
Yeah, she was a guest speaker. She came to a small farming town in upstate New York as a very, very progressive Democrat, even progressive for the time. And this was like, I don't know, 2000.
Like early on?
Yeah, like before 2012. I don't remember what year. She came and spoke to the class, and my class had like 20 people in it, my pig class. She was talking about lobbying and like saying how it's unfair that her opponents can get like millions of dollars lobbied from certain organizations, but how, when she was coming up, how she couldn't get any of these lobbyists. And at the time I was a hardcore Republican myself, but everybody in my school and town was. And somebody looked at her and was like, well, maybe they just don't like you. And, and when that happened, it was like the room saw weakness and just fucking preyed on this poor New York senator.
Oh no, what happened?
She was like, well, they're at an advantage because they've been at it for so long, and I was, new coming up, so I was at a disadvantage. And they were like, so introduce yourself to people, make a good impression, and maybe they'll give you money. And she was like, yeah, but we should limit how much money each side can get. And we're like, no. What if somebody wants to give you money? You just have to say no to it? Like, why would you do that? And anyways, it just started to escalate, and it started to turn into like a heated, like back and forth. And my pig teacher, He was cool as fuck, but he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He was just like
you know what? At least the kids are fucking engaged.
like they're engaged. She was just kept looking like panicked at him like for help, but it ended with her saying something about guns and
what? Wrong fucking place, lady.
and she got booed out of the classroom. Booed like this New York State senator booed out of this small classroom of like 20 fucking high schoolers, not even voters, high schoolers.
Yeah.
They're like, boo! Like the most obnoxious shit to her. She walked out of the classroom upset. People followed us. I mean, I was definitely a part of it. We followed her. We're like, boo! Like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, shit, disturber, Mitch. Fucking going in for the kill.
Dude.
You guys fucking smelled blood in the water.
Yeah.
Like the scum that was released by that first burn.
Oh, well,
my God.
So fast forward to like the last like 2020 election in the Democratic primaries. I see her on fucking TV and I turn and look at my wife and I'm like, Isabella, you're going to have no fucking, you're not going to believe me when I tell you a story about that person right there. A woman who made it to the Democratic primaries running for president got booed out of a high school classroom.
Yeah.
Tough. It was tough for her.
Like, genuinely tough. Get fucked, lady.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I still fucking disagree with her and I'm not even a Republican anymore, but holy shit. Like, looking back on that, like at the time, it was cool for a day that we all forgot about it, didn't think anything of it. But looking back, a New York State senator, there's two of them. There's two of them in the whole fucking state. Got booed out of a classroom by 20, 25 high schoolers.
Look, reminded her who she fucking worked for.
Yeah, look, it's tough. It was really fucking tough for her.
Well, you know what? Hopefully it was a humbling experience, but both of us know it wasn't.
I doubt it. She went on to run for fucking president. She probably, I bet if you bring that up to her, she'll act like she doesn't remember, but I bet that bothers her.
Yeah, no, 100%.
She came
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, she came into that classroom. Yeah, she came into that classroom and she was like dressed to impress, smile on her face, probably like, I'm going to come up to this red, like this is going to be a great PR move for her. She had like a little like photographer, but it wasn't like a film crew, but like a photographer. She's like, I'm going to come to this red rural farming community in upstate New York where my people are, even if they didn't vote for me. And I'm going to talk to them and convince them of my policies I want to implement. And she lasted about 5 minutes before the entire room turned on her. And it was just simple questions. It was like, why aren't you just better? If you were better, people would give you money. Like,
why don't you not suck? Have you tried not sucking?
Yeah. It was a whole fucking thing. Yeah, it was tough for her. It was tough.
Tough, but deserve it. You know what? Fucking absolutely deserve it.
Yeah, fuck her. I don't know what she's doing now. I know she ran for president. I don't even know if she's still a senator. I do know she got booed out of the classroom. Yeah, I hope so. You know?
Yeah. People can continue that little trend. That's something that has to happen in politics more, I think. Keep people fucking humble.
Well, it's, it wasn't so much a cult mentality back then. But
absolutely. Now it's like you have to agree with things or you're an outcast. You are a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're a dirty Republican. Oh, you're a filthy libtard. Like, it's silly.
Dude, I used to want to, I'd say as recent as 2 or 3 years ago. No, not 2 years ago. Probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
What do you want to do?
I was going to run for office. Like,
are you fucking...
Well, I was 3 years ago, but I remember...
You know what? I was also I'm still pretty just not in that way.
I was so passionate about running for office. So passionate about it. Yeah. I was so passionate about running for office. And I was even like planning 15, 20 years down the road of potentially running for president. Obviously, like none of this is like, it's fucking...
Can you imagine just like you get up on the fucking podium and then you flash your fucking Patrick Star tattoo?
Yeah.
and you walk off. That you just resign.
Well, that was my intent. I was going to run and be a very real person because I was tired of seeing
Yes.
politicians, and I believed that the Republicans were doing it the right way, but they were just all old and they needed some young Republicans, and I was going to come in and fucking do it. And I would appeal to the left because I'd be like, yeah, like we can compromise on some things because compromise is important. And then as recent as 2 years ago, I'm like, you don't compromise your rights. Guess I'm not running for office because nothing will ever get fucking done.
Yeah. It's not that like politically safe Overton window. I think the phrase is Overton window. It's the window of acceptable speech that everything kind of has to sit into.
Yeah.
Like if you've got views outside the Overton window, you simply won't make it anywhere. And that window pushes in either direction. But once you start, saying things that aren't correct on either side, then you just have immediately lost.
Well, and I know it's like it's a cringe enlightenist fucking libertarian take. I'm not even a libertarian.
You fucking filthy centrist.
Yeah,
I find it so funny. Like people try and put us in fucking boxes.
Yeah,
like libertarian, centrist, Democrat, Republican. Yeah,
I am neither of those things, but I have very recently, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I made a decision. I'm like, look, I'm just not going to debate any like anti-gun folk anymore or anything that has to do with rights. I'm not debating anybody on the topic of my rights anymore.
You're right. It's exhausting, and when people have an opinion, they usually stay there. Like if they are open to changing their mind, they'll generally do that on their own. But debating them is just generally a waste of time. It's masturbatory. It's ego-based.
And it validates people's arguments. Like I'm not even going to have a discussion with you if the discussion that you're trying to have is that you should be able to limit my natural rights. I'm not having that discussion with you because I'm not going to validate that because it's a stupid fucking opinion and it doesn't matter. You could word it and church it up and portray it in such a way to where it's not you limiting somebody's rights. You could say it's for the greater good. You could say whatever the fuck. I don't care. You can have the opinion. You can feel extremely strongly about it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter what your opinion is because I have rights regardless of what anybody's opinion is. And I just kind of was like, I'm not even going to debate people that are going to debate, about my rights, be it owning a gun or whatever. It's just none of their. I'm not going to validate it, and there's nothing to say.
I've had these conversations with. I had this conversation with someone very close to me here a couple of weeks ago, and I shit you not, one of the things that came out of her mouth which the argument was like, do we have natural rights? Do we have anything? And she said, no, we don't have natural rights. We just don't have anything, and you just kind of have to live with this collectivist ideology of what is best for the people will be best for you. And I just kind of realized at that point, why the fuck am I having this conversation? Like, no one's going to change our mind. It's a core philosophical ideology thing. And you know what? She can respect that. But I also respect people's rights to, do whatever doesn't hurt anyone else. And, grow weed in their own house or have a machine gun. I don't care.
Yeah. One thing, my wife wrote, one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I know everybody probably says it about their wife.
Isabella is fantastic.
She's super fucking intelligent, even though she does lean a little bit to the left. Super
Bernie, bro.
She wrote a paper in high school. And she always brings it up whenever we have the discussion about rights. She kind of believes what I believe, but when she's very science minded, so there has to be a reason and an origin and a cause. And her paper was, where do rights come from? Because when you break it down to it, some people say it's God-given. And whether you believe in God or not, it's a man-created, I don't want to call it theory, belief. It's a man-created, belief, we'll call it. And then, well, if God doesn't exist, but you still have those rights, humans still created rights. So humans are the ones that grant each other rights. Therefore, the government can be the ones that grant you rights. And The point that I always make that she says doesn't break her point is that my point is always that your rights come from you. You're the one that grants yourself rights, but that doesn't mean I have the right to go out and fucking murder people or anything. It means that
100%.
It means that you have the rights to do essentially whatever the fuck you want, so long as you are not infringing on other people's lives or property. And
absolutely, it's like the idea that the social order is just held together by arbitrary laws put together by old men we did or didn't elect is insane to me.
Well, yeah,
and basic human morality, and
you take away government, and it's not like everybody's gonna fucking murder each other. You're still gonna have rights. I mean, there will be some fucking assholes, but at the end of the day, I believe that you are the one that enforces and guarantees any rights that you have. And while government can't take away rights or grant rights, I do believe that government can attempt to restrict and violate your rights.
100%. And they do everywhere. They genuinely do everywhere. You see people in the UK being arrested for owning books. Yeah. You have people in Australia arrested on complete hearsay. Just, they made a social media post that was contrary to the public order outside the Overton window, as we may say. And their doors was fucking kicked down. In Canada, it's starting to happen as well. In America, they'll get there. Well, you'll get there as well. Me, soon, Yeah.
I am a very firm believer that your rights come from you, and nobody can grant them or take them away from you except for yourself.
Absolutely.
People can try.
No elected mob, no elected official, and nor the mob that works for them. Not the gang violence that they employ.
Yeah, well, even take away the cringe, centrist, libertarian, whatever the fuck view that it's only government that tries to actively infringe on people's rights. Because they're not. They are probably the most common. But at the end of the day, like even everyday normal people, when they rob you, when they try to hurt you, when they rape you, like that is a violation of your rights. So it's not just the government that does it, but I think throughout life...
It could be literally anyone.
It could be literally anybody. And throughout life, you're going to experience something from somebody, regardless of circumstance and, regardless of what political realm you live in, wherever you are from. Somebody somewhere is going to attempt to violate your rights, and at the end of the day, what it boils down to is if you let them or not.
Yes.
That's not victim blaming or anything like that at all. That's simply, hey, maybe you didn't let this happen. You actively tried to not let it happen, but they did it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's something that me and my wife always talk about. And she's much smarter than me, and she always pokes holes in that. But maybe we'll have to have her on, and she can tell us about her thoughts on where rights come from.
I'd be interested to hear her viewpoint.
I couldn't explain it if I tried. And I don't want to try because it would be disingenuous. But it is interesting to think, oh, shit. What is this, 3 or 4?
Don't worry about it.
5?
Don't worry about it.
6?
Don't worry about it.
Holy shit, fuck. We're not even 40 fucking minutes in.
Don't worry about it, Mitch.
All right,
it's okay. Everything will be okay. Cheers.
Cheers. I got my water.
I got my my friends.
So, since I've taken my break, you haven't done anything on social media?
Yes, we should probably let people know. Mitch has been taking a little bit of a break from social media because he got a little poopy for good reason.
I don't know if I got poopy is disingenuous.
A little poopy, just a tiny bit. A tiny bit. It's okay. I get poopy all the time. I got poopy when that fucking commie said he was going to kill us. It's super poopy.
I got emotionally invested.
You got poopy. It's kind of a synonym at this point.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
I took something too personally, and I started to get too emotionally involved with social media. And
you know what? Of all the people who has a right to be emotionally involved about, the whole stolen valor thing, I think you're up there. And I know that you're not going to want to talk about this because this kind of is antithetical, but
no, let's
you
fucking
are one
talk
of the
about it.
you are one of the people who has a right to complain about fucking Travis and other people who like get in on the brovet culture and fake combat experience and fake all of that. You are one of the people who has a right to kind of complain about like people who worship brovet culture. Kind of coming full circle back to that fucking Black Rifle thing.
Well, I don't think I necessarily care if people lie about having or not having combat experience or having or not having any type of military experience at all. That's not. I used to get upset about it, but now it's kind of like I just think it's cringy. But I don't have the energy to go into being like, hey, you're a fucking jackass for doing this. I think the part that bothers me about the recent events is that not only did they profit off of it, they built their entire personality around it, and a lot of people were influenced by their perceived experience. And it was more the overvaluation of military and combat experience that bothered me than somebody faking it. Because I think one feeds into the other. And if we didn't overvalue any type of military experience, then we wouldn't have people like Travis pretending to have done something that they didn't do.
Yes.
I also think building your entire personality and then because it doesn't work with anything else except for government officials, be it military, law enforcement, or like a senator or a congressperson. Those are the only people that can build their entire personalities around their job and have it not be considered cringy. And the
Well,
opposite.
Mitch, I'm actually inclined to disagree with you there. Mitch, I'm a certified forklift operator, and every part of my personality has to do with that, as is deserved, because I earned that title.
I've seen this meme going around, and I don't understand the context of it at all.
I don't understand. It's not a meme. I paid $200 in my local community college, and there's no way to be a forklift operator if you don't do that. It is a really distinct and honored clique, a very small group of individuals who have earned this right, and only we are allowed to talk about it.
Hashtag thin. What would we call that? What line? What thin line is that? Thin forklift line?
The thin yellow line.
The thin yellow line.
The thin yellow line.
Thin yellow
thin
line.
yellow line of fucking forklift certified operators.
Hey, if you aren't with the forklift operators, you're fucking against them.
You're
Roger.
against the forklift operators. I got a thin yellow line fucking flag on my Prius, okay?
I always forget you have a fucking Prius now.
Well, no one expects the guy in the Prius to like to be anything but a guy with a Prius.
That's part of why I sold my Tacoma. One, because I got a great trade-in price for it. And two, I needed a dad vehicle, so I turned in and got a Kia.
You get a fucking dad vehicle. Yeah.
I did. Man, I did get a dad vehicle.
If we're going to take my Prius and we're going to like duct tape an SKS to it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's for a secret
project. What were we
project.
talking about a minute ago? For a secret project.
Brovets.
Yeah.
Brovets,
it's kind of the whole thing. It's this weird... It's this weird, like, culturally acceptable but super toxic culture that is kind of only perpetuated by itself, but it's so mainstream now that people just kind of accept it.
Well,
I don't quite... Yeah?
The opposite is true, too, where the military feeds into yourself, where if you haven't seen combat, you ain't shit. And that's just simply not true. And it's never been true. It's this perceived toxic mindset that certain people have in order to validate themselves and their experiences. And what that leads to is not only, people pretending to have certain experiences outside of the military, but it leads to over exaggerating experiences in the military in order to get favorable action, promotion, awards, and chest candy. And at the end of
chest
the
candy.
day,
I like that term.
that's what we call it. And at the end of the day, I have these experiences and I have the chest candy, and honestly, it all
I know that pains you to say. I know you're really avoiding doing that, but yes, you do.
It doesn't mean shit. Well, it can mean something, and in some instances when it comes to making guides, it does have value, but there's a difference between taking value out of an experience and making an experience your entire personality and your entire
it's coffee, guns, guns and coffee and big titties, pickup trucks, football.
Well, and you also see people that have had one experience in combat and say nothing else works except for the way that I did it this one time when I was being shot at in this one situation. And that's also just disingenuous and not true. But because that person has combat experience, nobody is going to be like, hey, maybe there's another way to do this, because they're the ones that have the experience. They've seen it. They've been shot at, and they had a friend that fucking died on that mission. So how are you going to say that what they are saying might not be valid to every situation? And it's a very weird environment to have, but I'll use an example of what happened at work 2 years ago. I was teaching a CQB course with some new soldiers, and in my course that I was teaching them at the shoot house, I was like, hey, look, this is one way to do it. There's going to be many different ways to do it. Other NCOs are going to have an alternative way. There's going to be pros and cons each way. Just learn multiple different techniques and strategies. And then that way, when there's time for you to make a decision, you can make one, or somebody else who's in a leadership position can make one, and you're not going to be completely lost. And they're like, okay, cool. Makes sense. There was this one NCO, Sergeant. That was his name. His last name was Sergeant.
Sergeant. Actually?
Yeah, that was his last name.
Hey, Sergeant.
He heard me teaching this one method. And he came out and in front of everybody was like calling me out, saying this was wrong, this was going to get people killed, and that the only way to do it was this one way, and he knows best because this one time in Afghanistan he kicked in a fucking mud hut door and he whacked somebody or whatever the fuck he was on about. And whether or not that happened, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it did happen. For starters, that's not how you correct somebody, especially your peers in front of lower enlisted folks, but whatever. Second of all, just because one way has worked or one way is popular and works doesn't mean there aren't other ways to do something. I do understand.
Nor will it work in every situation.
Right. And I do completely understand folks that get upset if it's a safety violation. I understand that. If it's a safety violation, or if it's something so negligent as, hey, one strategy to winning a war is walking out in the open without a gun and just screaming obscenities while the enemy shoots you. Like, obviously,
what was that? We just did that in the recon guide.
Just recon by fire?
Yes.
Patrolling just for funsies? Pretty
much, yeah. Just like trying to provoke a reaction by being indiscriminate. It's kind of the reverse of recon by fire, which we learned also, but we're also told, like, let's not do this if we can help it.
Well, and, just to hit that real quick too, like, recon by fire can definitely be useful, and there's many different ways to do it. However, I question the morality of it. But when it comes to war in general, it's all immoral. So, like, my opinion doesn't mean fuck all. That's just my take on it. But anyways, he squared up with me. Like, it got to that, and I am not an aggressive person. I was not an aggressive person at this time in my life either. And I'm like, yeah, like, listen to what Sergeant, like, as he's screaming at me in front of everybody, like red in the face. And we're the same rank, and he's trying to like knife hand me or whatever. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, yeah, listen to what we called him Sergeant. I was like, hey, listen to what Sergeant is saying. Sergeant is saying, and just understand that that is also a method of going about it. Because what he was saying wasn't wrong at all.
Yeah.
What he
Not
was
the only
saying,
way.
yeah, it wasn't wrong at all. I'm like, hey, look, listen to what he, and this is while he's screaming at me. And then he was like, no, that is the way that you will teach them. If you don't teach them that way, they will get fucking killed. And he squares up with me. So looking back, I reflect and I'm like, well, he was really strongly passionate about this, probably because something happened. He was probably that emotionally invested to where something must have happened, whatever. But in the moment, this dude's squaring up with me and I'm already, like I said, not an aggressive person. I just looked at him like, get out of my face, dude. Like, I'm teaching a class, like blowing him off kind of, and not matching that emotional energy.
Yeah.
And it turned into more than words. We kind of like shoved each other, and this was all in front of everybody. And it got to the point where, it got to the point where my platoon sergeant had to come, grabbed him by the fucking collar and yanked him the fuck back and was like, fucking bozo, get up in my fucking office right now. And he was like, if you guys have a fucking problem, bring it the fuck out back, figure it out, whatever, but don't do it in front of the people. And I'm like, yeah, no, Roger, I understand, whatever. And he's still fucking angry about it. But the point being,
he believes it. I'm sure, like, to him, he was invested. That was...
The point being,
he
though,
truly
that
believes, like, the way that he learned is the only way.
Right.
And that saved his life in, X.
And it very well might have. But there is always more than one way to do something, and your experience doesn't always dictate every situation. And I think that's my biggest problem, on top of people pretending to have experience that they don't, just for that validation. And that validation and wanting their words to mean something, or having had their words discredited for having never seen combat before, when they have good knowledge to teach, is what encourages people to make things up. So it's not so much the stolen valor part that annoys me at all, because I could care less. I think it's a shitty thing to do, but I honestly could care less about that. It's when you take an experience that you don't have and make an experience up, and then a personality around it, and then a brand behind it, and you make money, people sell you stuff, or they give you things, and that is all that you ever discuss and bring up, and then it's found out that none of it is true.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I agree. I have a lot less of a place to agree.
It's everybody's place to agree. Just because I have some experiences with the military doesn't mean that my opinion is more credible or valuable than anybody else's. You don't have to have seen combat to have, valid experiences. It can be invaluable, though.
Yeah. And there's some, no, absolutely, but it doesn't necessarily make the training right.
That's very true. But
but experience is experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone who learns to drive a forklift the right way versus someone who has spent time behind a forklift.
Right. And
they're like both have their place.
And just because somebody has seen combat doesn't make them a fucking expert in tactics. Now, it can absolutely be an invaluable experience that they then correlate into training. And sure,
especially the body reacts a certain way when it's in life-threatening situations. That's something you can't really duplicate very well.
Yeah. And I mean, then there's a lot of things that happen that you can't mimic in training that happens in combat. And I absolutely recognize that, but just because somebody has been in that situation, or may or may not have been in that situation, whether they're making it up or not, it doesn't validate what they're teaching, and it shouldn't be a deciding factor when looking for an instructor. It can contribute to training. It shouldn't be the only training factor. And I think
Yes.
that's the fine line that a lot of people are breaking, you see.
Yeah.
And Travis isn't the only one that is faking it.
No, there's tons. There's tons. And there's even people who have seen combat who just like have embraced this toxic bro culture that like I don't want to shit on them for their experiences. It's simply what they do afterwards. For example, call back to episode 1, Dakota Meyer. Like he has very real experiences, but doesn't insulate him from having shitty opinions.
Yeah, and I mean, it happens, and it happens outside of just politics with their opinions. It's training, it's philosophy, it could be anything, where just because somebody has a certain experience doesn't make them an expert in that field. It can attribute to that, but it doesn't make them an expert. And somebody who may not have lived through a firefight before, but spends a lot of their time studying, practicing, and applying and training tactics, it can be a better teacher. One of the greatest generals of
doctrine changes really fast.
Yeah.
It's like someone who spent a lot of time doing trench warfare probably shouldn't teach modern CQB.
Well, and once you get outside of that baseline, is when it comes to any type of training or tactics or things with moving pieces and guns, once you have that baseline, it's less about knowing different ways to do something as it is being able to make decisions that make sense for that situation.
Yeah.
I hope I don't have to explain that more, but I feel like some people will be upset about that. But generally,
yeah, we'll always have poopy people. I was surprised we didn't get very many poopy people with the whole thing.
There weren't as many. You kind of made me nervous about the whole thing. You're like, I feel like this is blowing up in a bad way, and I'm like, we haven't really gotten anything.
You thought I was being more serious than I was.
Yeah,
I think you think I was being more serious than I was. I was pretty okay with it. I just wanted to give you feedback from like people I know.
Yeah,
but I wasn't bothered. Like, geez, I don't care. You're right. They hate you because you're right.
I think it's more than that, but it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and I think people see what they want to see and not what's actually being said.
Yeah.
And maybe
a lot of people just read it wrong. Like they took a general statement as a personal attack.
Well, one thing that I kept seeing being shared by a small portion of folks was they harped on when I said most people, when their combat experience in the last 20 years has been getting shot at by a farmer with a Soviet era AK. And they didn't read the next sentence where I said a very small portion of the military has went up against a competent force and has, that more enhanced combat experience. They read it as all combat experience in the last 20 years was by an opiumed up farmer with a Soviet era AK. And I saw this one page specifically was screenshotting like a post-op for special forces and like Navy SEALs and Green Berets where like somebody died and they're like, oh, just farmers with AKs. And I'm like, no, motherfucker. It's not disingenuous to say that a very small portion of the military is special forces or special operations where they see that trained, competent enemy. I agree with what you are saying, but people see what they want to see. I'm getting too emotionally invested again and I'm on my fucking break, Nathan.
You're on your break. Let's not talk about this. I
mean, we could talk.
I think this is a good way to change subjects.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good time to... So this episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Advanced Warfighting Solutions. Advanced Warfighting Solutions. Good belts for good prices. First belt at $58. I think every belt after that for also $58. Is it worth it?
Are you worth it? I'm gonna, since we said $58, I don't want people messaging them.
Yeah, it may also not be $58. It could be, I know it's less than 100 and it's over 50. I don't know. I fucking love mine. I love mine. It's fantastic. I can't remember how much.
I've used their stuff throughout my entire military career, and it's honestly such a privilege that they reached out and they want to be part of this because I've been using their stuff for years. They're kind of like a very lesser known supplier to higher tier military units, very lesser known. But once you try their stuff, it's absolutely worth it.
Yes,
absolutely.
I love my belt. I'm not just fucking saying that. I genuinely do. With also my True North concept stuff is fucking dope. And they're not paid sponsors of this. Yeah, True North fucking kicks ass. That is my favorite hand stop, and I've used like 8. They're not sponsoring this in any way. I just love my True North shit.
So we were about $100 off. They're $147.
Oh, fuck me. Oh my god. All right, $147. Is it worth it?
Are you worth it? Still great belts for great prices.
You know what? I'd still pay that. It's fucking an incredible belt. I moved off the... I now use it. I had an Orion belt, which is also fucking dope. But I do like the footprint of the Advanced Warfighting one.
Yeah, I think before I speak, let me just double check this. I think the $50 belts that we were talking about was for a future sponsor.
Oh, yes, EDC.
Yeah, no, you were correct. $60.25, but that's a future one that we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
Yeah, but ultimately, great belts, great prices. I've used their stuff in Afghanistan. I've used their stuff throughout training, all throughout the Baltics. I use their stuff personally outside of the military, and great stuff. Mine's held up for years. The only complaint that I have, and they recognize it, it's not even necessarily a problem. It's a very unique problem that I just solved by simply taking the belt off, because it's very, very, very easy to take it off and put it back on. It's a fucking belt. But the only problem I have is because the belt is stiff. It's a very stiff belt, which you want for when you're carrying heavy shit on it.
I actually like that. Like, to me, that's a plus.
Oh, I love it when I'm training out on range, doing anything where I'm not moving for more than like a mile or two. But I made the mistake of doing a 15-mile movement once with that belt on, and I didn't take it off. And holy shit,
you should be doing that with a fucking war belt anyway, man.
I did it with a war belt and a ruck, so it just put pressure down, and like my hips hurt like a motherfucker. But now
I did a 15-mile with a fucking fanny pack, and the fanny pack hurt. Like, anything is going to hurt at that point.
Yeah, so I'm smart about it now, and I just unclip it, and I just like attach it to something. And it just kind of dangles there, holding all my shit. But
these days, if I ruck, I generally use like my Haley rig or like my D3 CRM or something.
How many people do you think just skipped this last little bit that we just talked about the sponsor and belt with?
I don't know.
I
genuinely don't know. Either way, I'm just being autistic about gear. I'm not getting a cent for this, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like they could not really be paying us, and we would talk about their shit. Like, they make great stuff.
Yeah,
they really do.
No, they genuinely do.
Well, since you transitioned into that, I'm gonna depend on you to transition to wherever we're going next.
I don't know. I see that fucking T-Rex Arms is putting out good content now. We could get into the whole fucking T-Rex Arms and the whole bullshit that went on this week. That was a whole thing, eh?
You have to refresh me on that.
Well, first, someone put up a video about how T-Rex Arms was lying about training softcom. Then a bunch of softcom guys came forward, and Lucas, had legitimate footage of a bunch of, guys that seemed the part. And there was a retraction video the next day. But now T-Rex is they just put out a 3.5-hour video of just like carbine training, like beginner to rifle. And I'm glad that they're getting into actual educational content now. Like, think what you will about Lucas and all of that. It's good to just get more educational content out of there.
Well, I remember it was that Navy Man or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Navy Man, whatever. I didn't watch the first video, but I did watch the second one, and when that came out, it was just like, this guy has zero credibility. Well, I don't trust it.
I remember when it initially happened, Yeah, I remember this now. I remember we talked about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
look, if Lucas had ever claimed that he was teaching tactics to these units, I would understand the skepticism, and I wouldn't believe it for a fucking second. And I like T-Rex arms, and I like Lucas. I've talked to him a couple times. I'm like you have. He's very nice, very polite all the time. But if it came out that that's what he was saying, I wouldn't believe it for a fucking second. But
no,
shooting, on the other hand, I can absolutely see.
Shoot.
Absolutely see.
There's some things that you learn by doing, and this is a guy who fucking goes out and learns by doing.
And I don't even say I wouldn't believe Lucas if he said that he taught SOF tactics. It's not that I don't believe he isn't capable. I just know the pride and the exclusive group of people that SOF would ever listen to when it comes to tactics.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be fucking him, even if he was right. I'm sure some would. That's a very general statement for a small community of a lot of people. But for the most part, like, they wouldn't fucking listen to that dude when it came to 100%. Tactics. But shooting, they absolutely would. And
he can fucking shoot.
Yeah, and it came out, I guess, that he only ever claimed shooting, which I've never seen him claim otherwise. And I mean, makes sense because he's a good fucking shooter. What the fuck is it called? The
Walls.
The fucking whatever the red dragon and the what's the blue one that I like? Blue Inferno.
Fucking blue.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Those.
You got to try those.
300 milligrams of caffeine.
Yep. Yeah, you got to fucking try those. They're.
You can't fucking get them in Canada yet. I've been looking.
They are fucking delish.
Yeah. No, like Rain only became a thing here a couple of months ago, and it's like very popular now. But at the same time, you know, they're owned by the same company who owns fucking Monster.
Yeah. I do, and I prefer Rain over Monster any fucking day. I started to drink.
Absolutely.
I started to drink Rain when I was at CST, Cadet Summer Training, like we were talking about earlier. My first Rain that I ever had, one of the new LTs that was kind of the range officer, just getting experience working around NCOs. I was tired after one of our fucking binges in Nashville, and I didn't want to walk a lane and deal with these cadets. And he was like, here, have one of these. And this is after, on top of alcohol, I never drank caffeine. Well, I used to drink caffeine, like, obviously growing up in New York with the coffee, but I stopped drinking it.
Coffee.
I didn't fucking say it that time.
You did. You fucking did. You absolutely did.
It wasn't as bad. He handed me a Rain, and I drank it. And I was like, it's just like any other energy drink. Dude, after like 30 fucking minutes, I was moving on that fucking lane. And I was like getting into the fucking face of these knife hands coming out. Shing, 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 shing. Just fucking up people. It was
fucking knife handing these fucking cadets. Oh my God.
And then, from there, I just fell in love. I don't drink them nearly as much as I used to. Like during peak COVID, when I was sitting at home and playing Warzone all day, dude, I would drink one a day for weeks. And my heart, it was when Warzones first came out, and that's like an adrenaline pumpkin game for me. Like the final circle would get me fucking
in a resting heart rate of like 180.
Dude, I would be on with my friends, yelling, drinking Rain, sweating, just fucking like going at it with the fucking controller. Dude, I cut down a significant amount though, just because I don't need it as much, and I switch over to coffee a little bit, but every so often I'll treat myself to a Rain.
Yeah. We should play Warzone again at some point soon. I fucking suck at it, as you saw. But it could be fun.
Could be fun. Maybe we will. One of the funny things when I started taking my break, I think one of the last things I posted on our story was somebody asked me what video games I play, and I said Warzone and FIFA. And I'm like, and I turned off notifications like shortly after that. I'm like, have fun with that one, Nathan, because everyone's
I actually no one responded. No
really
one fucking said anything.
nobody.
Not a single thing. Not a single thing. And I have been looking. Not a single person gave you shit and made fun of you for being a fucking Chad. But I am going to do that right now. You fucking Chad.
Well, maybe not making fun, but usually people ask if they want to play, and
I think one guy did.
Oh.
I think one guy, but I didn't reply because I'm not beholden to your war. I'm not going to put you in the position of like, yes, Mitch, play fucking Warzone with this random dude.
I did. I used to give out my gamer tag and play with folks, and then when I would be in a party with like my friends, like my real life friends, they would join and start talking about politics, and then being angry. Yeah, and then being angry when my friends were like, "Dude, we're playing video games."
Yeah,
and then they would message me after, be like, "Yo, you gotta stop hanging out with these people." And I'm like, I'm not fucking giving my gamer tag out anymore. I'm not fucking talking.
You know what? Good fucking call. I'm of the same mind. I've played with a few people from like IG and all that, but like I'm keeping it at that, not making it public. Yeah. The more public you make something, the weirder the people you get.
Well, there's definitely some people that I do play with now. I play with AWS, the owner of R Tactical.
Yes. Yeah, he's a cool fucking guy.
Really cool dude. There's a
for being a Redditor anyway.
Yeah. I don't understand Reddit to this day. He always tries to explain it to me, and I'm like, dude, don't even bother because I can't fucking get into it.
Then I'm mixing this watermelon White Claw with this orange dreamsicle rain, and it's fucking incredible, and you have to try this.
Yeah, let me just come up to Canada really fucking quick and try that.
You could just go out and try it right now, Mitch. I know you're home alone. I know your wife is. You are not beholden to your wife's scrutiny. You could do this literally right now.
I could, but
just fucking try it, Mitch.
I'm not gonna fucking try. I'm not gonna go out and get those. It's fucking
orange dreamsicle, watermelon White Claw.
It's 5:30 fucking p.m. I would be up all night.
Exactly. It's after 5. It's after 5. You're fine.
It would be all fucking
You're
night.
Being social drinking if it's with me.
Yeah, but we're already an hour and 10 minutes into this.
We're an hour and 10 minutes into this, Mitch. Don't be a soft buddy.
I'm not going. No, fuck you. I thought about it for a second. No, fuck you.
I have mixed my energy drink with my alcohol, and it's incredible. You know, I got my first piece of, I don't want to call it fan art, just like art from the podcast today. And it's incredible. It's just...
What? How come you didn't show me?
Because you're on fucking break, Mitch.
Yeah, but I want to see cool stuff. It's not like I'm fucking in the mountains unreachable. I'm sitting in my fucking apartment playing video games.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to email it to you right now. It's from a username cerebral_impact, and it's fucking incredible. It's probably my favorite drawing anyone has ever done of me. And there's been a few. There's been a surprising amount. You know, for not having tits, I'm very happy. So I've just sent it. It's in your email.
By the time you guys hear this, the podcast will already be out. But tomorrow we're coming out with a episode with Task Force Doomer, the artist from Task Force Doomer.
Fuck me, we are. Yes.
Yeah, the art that you did for that was really fucking cool, dude.
Thank you. I mean, it's no different from the art that I already do, but I appreciate that.
Well, I remember my idea was a little more violent.
Yes, a little bit. I kind of liked the solve for X gag. It's very like boomer level humor.
But. Yeah. So my original idea, for those of you that are listening to this episode, who knows? Maybe this episode will come out next Sunday, and we'll keep pushing the one that we did with Luke and your friend
Isaac.
Yeah. See, I know him by his first name, even though we called him by his middle name, and I don't want to say his first name because he said that he.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say his first name.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe we will just keep pushing that and put this one out. But my original idea, so you can just go back if you are listening to this, you can see my original idea where instead of it like being an interrogation like this was like one of us with a knife or a gun to like the Doomer's fucking head or throat, while the other like yells at him with like the solve for X. But You made it more social media friendly.
I made it a little bit more social media friendly, and we also like him, so like maybe we shouldn't have part of just like holding a gun to his fucking head.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about our process a bit and the way that we go about things, because I think a lot of people I saw during the Q&A were asking either you for like how do you go about it or like vice versa. So I think people should know that we don't really have a process. Well, you might have a process drawing, but like when it comes to the ideas,
we have like an overall process. I think. What I notice is like you will write a base guide, or on the rare occasion I will write a base guide, but it's usually you, especially when it comes to tactics and small unit tactics and things like that. I will proofread it, add things and remove things as necessary, and then illustrate it, and then I'll send it back to you, and we'll kind of have a final looky-loo, and it goes live. It's basically it. It's very, very streamlined.
yeah,
Things get done on average. Like a guide takes about a day.
Yeah, there's not really any, like we don't sit down and be like, hey, what should we do for this, this, and this? I do include illustration ideas for most slides. There are some where...
For about like half.
Is it half? I think it's more than half.
It's about half get utilized. I think you do illustration ideas for about 2/3, and about half get used.
Okay, yeah,
if not about a third.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yes. I like to throw my pop culture references in because like Gun Culture 3.8, and all that, and also just like I'm a fucking nerd and I like those games.
Well, I mean, I think they add flavor. You know, like the little Pokemon and the dick butt drawings on like the whiteboard sometimes. Like it's a little Easter egg and flavor for folks.
Yeah.
But for the most part...
like having a fucking Halo Needler in the backpack and, you know, Marcus Phoenix with an AK-47.
I think the most actual process besides that we have would be coming up with like the propaganda pieces.
Yeah, the propaganda is surprisingly hard. We haven't done propaganda in a little while, eh? The last one we did was David Chipman, and even then that was like an emergency character.
Yeah.
Fuck David Chipman.
Yeah, fuck David Chipman. But we've had events that happen and we're like, we need to take advantage of this and put something relevant out, but we can never come up with ideas.
No, we had that happen last time. What was the event?
Cuba and Democrats like supporting the people of Cuba, like unironically.
The whole fucking breakdown in Cuba, and I guess South Africa is not looking too hot right now, eh?
Probably not. I actually had a very light job offer to coach over in South Africa for soccer, and I might still explore it. But
it's a good thing you didn't fucking take it.
Well, I might still explore it.
Maybe don't explore it when there's society is... Well, maybe not in its current state. You know, this society has broken down basically into a fucking Lord of the Flies situation, but...
I haven't heard too much about South Africa, but the Cuba thing where the Democrats were unironically supporting letting the people do shit in Cuba after what they have done and supported and said over the last 2 years was just way too unironic.
It reminds me, it reminds me of Biden giving that speech about Russia, and it's just like, imagine if America tried to subvert other countries' democracy and fair process. Like, what the fuck do you think America's been doing for like
South America? Like we don't even hide it.
You fucking retard.
Dude,
like
we're not even fucking hiding it. Like it is a known fact that we meddle with South American and Central American countries' democratic process. It's a known fact. And he was like, imagine if we did this thing. Like what?
We don't have to imagine. Fucking look at Venezuela. Look at every fucking government America has destabilized for its own national interests and otherwise. Just because. Fucking because. I think we got into this the other day. Just like imagine being Saddam Hussein, which is like Saddam Hussein was a bad fucking person.
Terrible.
But just fucking terrible human being and a fucking terrible government. But just like opening the newspaper one day and being like, America has declared war. It's like, well, like what the fuck? Well, we don't have any missiles. What are we supposed to do?
Well, not only that, imagine being Saddam Hussein when George Bush was like, they have weapons of mass destruction. And you're Saddam Hussein and you're like, I do.
What?
I do.
It blows my mind. Like, nothing ever came of that. No missiles were ever found. No components were ever found. And everyone's just like, all right, you know what? Fuck that guy, I guess.
Well,
which, like, fuck that guy, yeah. But, like, at the same time.
You ever see the Dave Chappelle sketch where the Bushisms of Dave Chappelle,
No,
where he's pretending to be Bush? I'll have to send that shit to you. That shit is hilarious. Send that shit to me, man. I'll have to send that over to you. But
yeah,
it was so, that event was so ironic that we were like, I messaged you, I'm like, we need to do something with this. But then all of my ideas, I don't want to say ours like it was yours. All of my ideas that I had, we had already kind of done the same concept before. And I think that's partially also why I'm taking a break emotionally. Like, obviously I was getting too invested into certain things, but I was also,
you got too invested. You got too big.
Well, not on top of that stuff though. Like, I wasn't coming up with anything new, and I was just, I don't know.
You know what? Sometimes that's okay. Artist block is okay. And you are, Mitch. At your core, you are an artist.
Well, I mean, it's not a new thing. Like, it's not a big deal that I'm taking a break, like it might sound, because you've taken breaks.
By the time this episode comes out, your break is going to be over. Yeah, you forced me to take breaks, Mitch.
Well, you've kind of forced me to take a break.
But yeah, no. Yes, well, and I stand by that. I think you need a break.
Well, and I think we keep each other accountable, but I think one of the more important things, and it's not even that important, but one of the important things that we do is that people don't even know when the other takes a break unless we say something. I think
100%. Yeah,
I think
both of us are pretty good at, like, imitating each other's, verbiage, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a good system down to where, and we have enough backlog just from all the stuff that we have posted before or on the old account before it got
one
poofed.
Good thing about getting banned.
Yeah, we have so much shit where it would just be like, hey Nathan, I need you to spend just some time changing watermarks for next week's content, and I'll take care of the rest.
Genuinely though, I do the watermarking on the same layer as the shadows, so it takes me probably 30 seconds to change it out.
Yeah, so I mean, anytime you or I take a break, I think, is this my first break on the new page?
I think this might be your first break.
It might be. I know I took one on the old page, but for this new page, and we're getting back up there too. What are we at?
Yeah,
I don't want to look. I don't want to. I'm not opening Instagram. You tell me.
Fucking numbers don't matter. Who gives a shit? I don't fucking pay attention to that stuff, man.
I pay attention to that stuff.
Because your job is literally social media manager, apart from, being fucking pooed in the state in your spare time. But
yeah, you're not wrong. I haven't paid attention though. I am very proud to say I haven't logged out of our account because it's such a pain in the ass when one of us logs out to log back in. I haven't logged out.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I have done, and I've done it 3 times so far, you can disable notifications from an account without logging off, but only at 8 hours at a time. So I'll get a notification from the Seaburn Art page, and as soon as I see that I'm getting notifications, I will open Instagram, I will go to settings, and I will disable again for another 8 hours. I've done that.
It's dumb that you can't just disable it.
It is very dumb, but I think they do that on purpose because people are like, oh, I need a break. And then it's like, no, come back. Look at all these people liking and commenting and sending you messages.
Yeah.
And
then you get that little uptick of fucking serotonin, and
I've been very good about it. I've been very good about it. And I think when you take your breaks, you're pretty good about it too. And I try not to bother you, but I feel like sometimes I'll be like, oh fuck, we need to fix a watermark on this. Can you do it real quick? And I violate your breaks.
I don't take it as seriously as you do. I'm just like, whatever. Like you're just like, no, take a Nathan week. I'm like, I don't care.
Well, sometimes you fucking need it. And sometimes,
you know what? I run pretty close to the wire basically 100% of the time. And that's all right.
Well, I feel like you and I do a good job of holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into, and we don't have to put, that's a thing. We choose to put this much time into it. So
Yeah.
there's like no room for us, any of us, to complain. We're not getting paid for it. I mean, we do it because we enjoy it, but we do put a fair.
We are paying to do this, both in time and otherwise.
Yeah, we are actually in the hole, and we every month that we do
quite
this,
a bit. And I don't care. I do it anyway, just to get this shit out there.
Yeah, every month we go in the hole even further and further.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, if you count all the shit that we've received, probably not. We're probably at black.
Fair,
but because like people do seem to like what we do, and I appreciate them every fucking day. But at the same time, I would do this if it cost me so much.
Well, and
because I like it. I like getting stuff out there. I got a message the other day being like, "Hey, like you're the #1 tactical trainer in Canada." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm a fucking retard, guys." Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But the fact that you say that, #1, that means so much to me. It means so much to me as a person. I think I actually had like a half tier at that point, which is not allowed. It's illegal. But 2, it means that we need more like Canadian fucking tactical content, because I don't know what the fuck that I'm talking about. I genuinely don't. And I can think of a few guys. Just weird to hear that.
I think I remember looking at the analytics. Obviously, a majority of our following is in the U.S., but Canada is definitely second.
Yeah, it's like 90. Yeah, it's like 95% is American or something. But
I don't know. I think one thing that we do very well, in my opinion, and others might disagree, I think we are a diverse page, and not in a forced way where we're just trying to like pander. I think we are diverse in the sense where
we make stuff that we like.
Yeah. And
it's like, do people need to learn how to fucking patrol? Yes. Do people need to learn how to do reconnaissance? Yes, absolutely. Can you get this training for free online? Yeah, if you want to read the fucking Ranger handbook. It's dry.
Yeah.
It's like, we've all had to do that stuff for a living, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. It's good to be able to make this stuff digestible. If it helps one person, I'm happy. If it helps one person, it's worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
And like millions of people see our shit a month.
Yeah,
millions, and it blows my mind that's a thing.
It's I thought about that number the other day, and it's weirdly not intimidating. It's more like impressive. Like, I do my best to not take it for granted. That's what I think that's what I'm getting
100%.
at. I do my best to try and not take it for granted, but like I used to think about, man, like one day I could have, like this is before you and I partnered up. I used to think, I'm like, man, like one day I could have like 1 million people potentially following me, and like that was like the scariest thing in the world to me. And now we don't have obviously 1 million followers, but we have millions of people that see our shit, and it's not intimidating. It's more like, wow, I need to keep doing. Like, I need to keep getting better. I need to keep putting things out that are of value. It becomes
like a social obligation. It becomes like we're doing this for people now. And does that make us zealots? Maybe. Does it make us self-important? Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a little humbling in some ways. It's a little self-aggrandizing in others. So that's probably not the right phrase, but no, I see the numbers, and I really don't like looking at the numbers. Again, I'd be doing this if we had like 100 people watching.
Yeah.
But it's what we are genuinely helping people, and I find that fucking cool.
Well, and we genuinely enjoy it, and I think that's the important
100%. I fucking absolutely enjoy this.
I think regardless, even if we were being paid, if we were ever being paid for this, and one day you came to me or I came to you and said, "Hey, man, I'm not enjoying this," we would cut that immediately. If it be that a small part of, even if that was like one part or the entire thing. If you ever came to me and said like, "Hey, like I just don't enjoy making the art anymore," I'd be like, take a fucking break or don't. Like, just don't don't do it if you don't enjoy it. Even if we were being paid for it, I just don't think there's it when it stops being fun. I feel like it stops being good, and there's less incentive. I've seen you do art that you didn't enjoy doing, and it's still.
I think like with that art that I didn't enjoy doing, I think part of the reason I didn't enjoy it was no one was getting anything out of it. There was no actually gain or loss for like not to be again self-important, but like there was no gain or loss for society. It didn't really do anything. It was just kind of like
entertainment.
Entertainment, I guess. But no one learned anything. No one really got anything out of it. There was no like propaganda aspect. There was no educational aspect. It just kind of was. And normally that's fine, but like some of the guides, they have really dry artwork, but it's okay. I still enjoy doing it because people get something out of it.
Yeah, I remember.
And,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
One of the first things that you would say when we handed over the keys and we kind of like started to tag team this was like posting it and getting like 1,000 like likes in like the first 20 minutes. You were like, this is motivating. And I'm like, yeah, it's addicting. But
yeah, as much as it hurts me to say that because I hate how the social media algorithms work, and I hate how that little happy rush of the release of dopamine and serotonin and whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, it does. There is a positive correlation there with people just watching your stuff. It's not about the likes. It's about the information being out there.
Yeah.
For every one person that interacts with something, 10 or 100 people have seen it.
Yeah, and it's the underlying. See, the surface level stuff is the likes and the comments, but the underlying stuff that only we can see because we can see the analytics is like, yeah, maybe our post got 6,000 likes, which is like a lot. That is something
that's pretty average for our shit now, I think.
For
being as we are recording this, the 17th of July, fucking 2021, because it changes so rapidly.
It does.
But yeah, I never look at the analytics because I don't care. I know that's more your thing, but it's just the idea that stuff is getting out there.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that like T-Rex Arms and Garantham and all of them, they have right. It's a culture war. And this is how you win. It's one person sees one thing that puts them on a rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. One person sees one thing that maybe they share it with one other person, puts them down a rabbit hole. We're not necessarily forcing people to think about something, but some people do. They will look at content and be like, oh, well, I wonder how we can control problem. I wonder, like, maybe we should go out on the weekend and set up a patrol base just for fun. Like, getting people to think about things they wouldn't have otherwise thought about.
I know you don't pay attention to it as much, but one thing that I do.
No, I see the baseline, like how many people liked a photo. And I don't really care, but
there's
I see it when I have to.
Every so often I'll like if there's like a follower spike, I'll pay attention to who's following us, like who is newly following us, just to kind of like see. And every so often there's always somebody or like that surprises me. Like a big influencer, but has nothing to do with guns, tactics, or shooting, and it always surprises me, and it makes them a little bit more special because I'm like, okay, like somebody, and I say influencer and I cringe as I say it, but I don't know how else to describe somebody that has like a large social media presence. I don't know how else to describe somebody like that, but
best word, unfortunately.
It always surprises me. Do you remember that porn star that followed us on our old account? Like one of my childhood, like I say childhood, that sounds so bad. Childhood favorite porn stars.
Your childhood favorite porn star. Did she ever follow the new account?
No, I don't think so. If she has, I haven't noticed. But
that is very funny. My one jumps to that whole fucking Bonnie Rotten thing.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Bonnie Rotten for those trying to figure it out. I'm not going to say
it wasn't Bonnie Rotten. It was someone a lot more like Girl Next Doors ish.
Yeah, but holy shit, when I saw that, jumped out to me instantly, and I screenshot it. I sent it to our little group chat, And I'm like, holy fucking shit, like it's happening. And I'm like, but originally I'm like, why the fuck is she following us? Like, why the fuck? She doesn't post any of that stuff. You would have never guessed. And she would every so often engage with some things, and I would see it and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's always so surprising. And whenever I do come across somebody who is like not at all involved in that stuff, at least publicly, like interact with us, it always makes me laugh and like feel like, oh, like this is actually getting out to people and it's not just an echo chamber.
It's not just an echo chamber. It's loads of people that never post about this stuff, never publicly vocalize. Because Mitch, until recently, I've been one of those people. I haven't posted since fucking 2017. Most people online don't know my views nor what I'm involved with. But through our page, that's changed. But I know a lot of people here who are exactly like that. They'll never talk about their particular views or proclivities or, the training that they may or may not do because it's not socially acceptable. It doesn't fit within that, again, Overton window. But they still follow it and they get a lot out of it.
Yeah. It's something that I will forever not, like, I'll never take it for granted, I feel.
Yeah.
But I am always reminded now that the powers of social media that be can just take it all away for no reason.
Oh, 100%.
For no reason.
There's a non-zero chance it's going to happen again, even though we don't really break any rules. We didn't break any rules the first time. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. But it be what it is.
It do be that way.
It do be that way. Well, now that we had a good long discussion, I think it's a good time to end it.
You know what? Sure. You know what? That's fine. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this rain claw, but I've. Do
you want to talk about more shit? Let's talk about more shit.
I can't think. What do you want to talk about?
No. You sounded like you were upset that I was going to end it.
Well, Mitch, I always enjoy seeing your face and hearing your voice. So, like, of course, I'm going to be upset because it means that our time has come to an end.
It's not actually coming to a fucking end. The recording's coming to an end. But hey, thanks everybody for listening. Even though we did kind of self-masturbate for like the last 30 minutes.
Oh my god, we self-masturbated so much. I think we masturbated each other a little bit too.
Yeah, we did jerk each other off, but I am getting really hungry and I got a nice lamb steak I'm cooking for dinner.
Lamb steak? You're eating fucking mutton, Mitch?
I love lamb.
I also love lamb. I'm more saying that out of jealousy.
I have lamb like once a week.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I remember the last time I had lamb. It was like I was on a Bangladeshi Airlines flight. And
ew.
Fucking early 2010s or something, and there was lamb or goat. I don't know. It was good. I haven't had lamb in a long time.
I'm sure most of you realize that Nathan has nervous drank his way progressively more drunk. That's what a fucking sentence I just had.
Hey, Sarn, I'm sober as a judge.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry, Sarn.
All right, hey, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to end this recording. Hopefully you stop fucking calling me Sergeant.
Hey, Sarn, how do I mix this White Claw?
Thanks, everybody, for listening.